Alrighty, so let's just get straight into it. To make the top, you're gonna first start with your front piece because the top consists of two pieces, the front and the back, and then you tie them at the shoulder and at the side seams. So we're gonna start with our front piece. So with our front piece, we're gonna take the front facing fabric. We have the lining and the front facing fabric. We're going to take our front facing fabric. I'm starting with that. You can start with your lining, but basically what you want to do is you want to take the side front and take the center front and then align them at the princess seam, right sides together, pin in place, and then we are going to stitch. Now remember, what I do for one side is exactly the same thing that I will do for the other side, and it's exactly the same thing that I will do for the lining. And also, because the back has the same amount of pieces, similar pieces, where there's a center back and a side back piece, you're going to repeat the same process for the back, but you don't have to do it now because I do show in the video how to do the back. But yeah, you can just go ahead and do it at the same time without like fast forwarding the video. But basically, like I said, the two side front pieces go onto the center front piece, pin at the princess seams, and then stitch in place. Repeat for your lining piece. Now I've got the two lining pieces, the two pieces. I've got the front facing piece and I've got my lining piece. What I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna trim off the excess seam allowance and then go ahead and clip into the curve. So basically these little clips are to make it so that when you do like, open, spread the piece open, it lays nice and flat. So you want to do some little clips, but you want to make sure that your clips do not go past where you stitched because your piece is going to fall apart. So you're going to do this for both pieces, the lining piece and the front, the fashion fabric, the front facing piece. Now for this next step, I'm going to take my two front pieces and I'm going to put them right sides together, making sure that I'm aligning all the seams together. And then I'm going to pin along the neckline. So remember, I will be doing the same thing for the back piece, which you're going to see later. But all I'm doing is just like taking the two pieces, putting them right sides together, and I'm just going to pin at the neckline. Now I'm gonna stitch the neckline. And then we're going to go ahead and just trim off the excess seam allowance. And then just like we did with the princess seam, we're going to clip into the curves so that when we turn our top inside out, it lays nice and flat. Now we're going to complete a top stitch or an edge stitch, but basically what we want to do is we're going to take our seam allowance on our neckline and we are going to push it towards the lining, and then from our original stitch we're going to stitch 1 to 2 millimeters away, making sure that you are capturing the seam allowance that's underneath, and that's just how you do your top stitch. With the piece being done, I'm gonna go ahead and do my straps, right? You want your straps, the total measurement, like when you're done, your strap should be 1 centimeter wide. So what I recommend you do is you cut your straps to be 4 centimeters wide. This includes a 1 centimeter seam allowance, and then you're going to fold them in half lengthwise and then stitch one, leaving 1 centimeter as the actual strap, basically. Yeah, just stitch at the 1 centimeter, which is the seam allowance, is what I'm trying to say. Trim off the excess seam allowance and then turn your straps inside out using a loop turner. And you need to make sure you can make your straps as long as you want them, as long as you make sure that they are 1 centimeter wide in the end. So you are going to make a total of 4 straps for each piece, so that's a total of 8 straps. And like I said, the length of the straps is all up to you. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna take my front piece, and while it's still right sides together, I'm gonna put it right sides together, and then I'm gonna align it at the lower edge, so the bottom seam, and then I'm just going to stitch that edge closed. So yeah, exactly. Basically, what I did with the neckline is what I'm doing here. Yeah. Now I'm going to reach into one of the side seams so I can align my strap with the bottom tip of the side, right? So basically that tip at the lower edge, that's where you want to place your strap. So you need to make sure that your strap is sandwiched in between the two pieces. And then when we're done with this, I'm going to pin it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pin the rest of the side seam. And I'm going to repeat the same process for the other side. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stitch the side seams. But remember, for one of the side seams, you're not gonna stitch you're not gonna stitch the entire side seam closed. You need to make sure that you do leave 1.5 inch to 2 inch pocket open because that's what we're going to use to turn the top inside out. So one of the side seams needs to be completely stitched closed and the other one needs to have a tiny little pocket to help turn the piece inside out. Now, using the pocket that you left open, you just want to reach into the pocket, reach into it, and then turn your piece inside out, basically. Now I'm going to set the front piece aside and start working on the back piece. Now, like I said, with the back, we're repeating the exact same process as we did with the front, right? So we're going to take our the first two back pieces, which are the side back piece and the center back piece, and we're gonna align them at that princess seam, pin them in place, and then stitch them. Now that these two pieces are put together, I'm going to grab the other center back seam, and then I'm going to align it with the other center back seam, stick pin it pin it in place, and then stitch. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach the last side back piece. I'm going to align it along the princess seam of the center back piece, and then pin it and then stitch in place. And then remember, I'm going to repeat the exact same process for the lining. Okay, now that that's done, I'm gonna take the two back pieces, put them right sides together, and then we are going to pin along the neckline, making sure that we line up all our seams. Yeah. Seam allowance, and of course just clip into the curves, and then we are going to complete another top stitch or edge stitch. So yeah, we're doing the exact same thing as we did for the front piece. Stitch the lower edge by just aligning the lower edge of the two pieces, and then you just stitch it in place, and then we are going to place our straps. So you're gonna turn your back piece inside out with the pocket that we left open, and then we're gonna press it with an iron, and then we're gonna attach our last bits of straps. So that pocket that you left open, don't close it yet until we've placed our straps, and then when we place our straps, you're gonna hand stitch it close or just like stitch close to the edge using your sewing machine. So this next part is going to be a bit tricky because now we want to place the straps at the shoulders, right? I did not film this part well and I'm out of frame for most of it, and I do apologize for that. But basically what you want to do is you just want to take your strap, right? Take your loop turner, pierce it, like put it in between in the pocket, and then what you want to do is make it come out of the shoulder tip. You're going to take the strap, pull it, right? Take the strap, hook it, and then you are going to pull it along with the shoulder tip until both the strap and the shoulder come out of that pocket. So in the next frame, like I know you can't see anything right now, but in when I do the next one, you're gonna see exactly what I'm doing way better. So you're gonna do this for all of your shoulder pieces, right? So basically, um, I'm hooking my strap at the shoulder tip, and I'm also hooking the shoulder, and then I'm pulling everything out, right? So give it a few seconds, and then you'll see how I do the other side because it just shows a little bit better. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's how you place the straps onto the shoulders. And like I said, you're gonna do it for the back also, and then that'll be the end of doing your piece. Stitch the side seam, the side pocket that you made, stitch it close, and that will be the end from me. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you're still confused, message me on the Etsy app, and I'll be more than happy to help you.